Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." It made me think about our practice, how an unexamined practice might not be worth doing. We need to focus, we need to observe, and we need to assimilate to understand our bodies better. In this practice, we'll be focusing on the major joints, the hip joint and the shoulder joint, in flexion and extension, in order to examine our practice more deeply. We'll begin. Come to standing at the front of your mat. As you come to the front of your mat, inhale, take your arms up and reach them back. Exhale, take the arms to your sides, interlace your fingers, and draw your heart forward and down. 2 more times. Inhale, sweep your arms up, spread your fingers to tone the muscles of the arms with the hands nice and wide apart, reach up and back. Exhale, swing your arms down, interlace your fingers behind you, and draw your heart down. 1 more time. Inhale, free your hands, reach your arms up, take your hands wide apart, reach back. Exhale, swing your arms back and interlace your fingers as you bow down. Now free your hands by placing your hands to your low back, bend your knees, root down to rise up. Inhale, take your arms up again. This time place your hands right in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra as you reach your heart toward your hands in this position. Step your right leg back. Root down through the right heel and bend your left knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Same movements we are doing. Reach your hands up and back. Exhale, take the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers and draw your heart toward your bent leg. Inhale, rise up again. Reach up, reach back. Keep your back heel very firmly planted. Exhale, just examine the breath. See how you can perhaps create more fullness in your actions through fullness in the breath. Inhale, reach up, reach back. Exhale, same thing, draw down in a forward bend. So we're opening the hip and opening the shoulders at the same time. Inhale, take the hands up and place them right in front of the heart as you step your back foot forward, and pause and just notice the difference. We examine the actions of our practice. We draw our awareness more fully into the actions of the practice with a focus on the breath, the focus on maybe any differences, any idiosyncratic aspects of the right side and left side. So let's check that out as we step the left foot back. Park your back heel down. Free your arms to reach them up. Again, hands are wide apart, fingers are spread. Bend your front knee and swing your hands back behind you as you draw down. Inhale, free your arms to reach them up and back. Exhale, swing them back and draw down. 1 more time. Inhale, beautiful back bend as you take your gaze up, your hands back. Exhale, forward bend as you interlace your fingers behind you and draw down. Inhale, reach up. Place the hands in a prayer position right in front of your heart and step your back foot forward. Release your hands to the side. Close your eyes for a moment. Just pause and reflect. Examine the actions that you did. And now notice how your breath has shifted, how you feel a slight difference in the temperature of your body. With your eyes bright, inhale, take your arms up and back. Exhale, take your hands alongside your ankles. Step your right leg back. Take your right knee down. Sweep your arms up. Reach up and back. Exhale, hands behind you. Draw your heart forward and down. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Take your hands wide apart so you can feel the shoulder blades hug in. Exhale, take the hands behind you. Draw down. One more. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, release. Just the repetition. If you slow it down, you can tell the differences between the sides and the differences between each repetition. Place your hands alongside your ankle and step back to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, once again, examine. Examine the placement of your hands with a nice spread of fingers. Examine the placement of your feet. They should be hip distance apart and parallel. Examine your breath. How can you come to the fullness of your pose with this deep understanding, with an understanding of the actions required, the focus required to make the refinements? Inhale, draw yourself to a plank position and lower yourself to the mat. Reach your hands straight back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, soften. Two more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, soften. One more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, soften. Place your hands alongside your ribs. Come back to downward facing dog. Look forward toward your hands. Walk, step, or hop your way to the front of the mat. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. You observe. And in that examination, you discover how you can go deeper in your practice. With your eyes bright, inhale, take your arms up and back. Exhale, take your hands to the earth alongside your ankles and step your left leg back. Draw your left knee to the earth. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, swing your hands back to draw your heart down. Inhale, free your arms, reach them up and slightly back. Exhale, draw your heart down. Inhale, free your hands, reach your hands up and slightly back. Exhale, draw your heart down as you interlace your fingers behind you. Free your hands and step back to downward facing dog. Once again, examine your downward facing dog. Your other Mukha Svanasana. See how you can create just a stronger foundation through a spread of your fingers and toes. Notice how the breath helps you elongate. So all the way from the heart to the fingers, from the heart to the pelvis and down through the backs of the legs, you feel this nice lengthening action. Inhale, come to a plank position. Draw your shoulders slightly forward, even forward to the fingers, and lower yourself down. Inhale, draw your heart forward in a baby cobra pose. So keep your elbows bent, the elbows hugging in. Exhale, soften. 2 more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, soften. See how you can put the action of this pose into the back muscles. Inhale, lift up from the strength of your back muscles, not the strength of the arms. Come back through downward facing dog. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your way to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up and slightly back. Exhale, place your hands right in front of the heart. Release your hands. So we open the hips nicely in those lunges and a lot of shoulder work, taking the arms up and back. So you can really examine the action, the fullness in these poses. Just by focusing on the 2 major joints, the hips and the shoulders in this practice, by examining those actions, we can go so much deeper into our practice. Step wide on your mat. Draw your right toes out and bend your knee. Inhale, Virabhadrasana number 2. Reach your arms up. Take your gaze out over your extended right hand. Get this nice fullness to the side body as we continue to open the hips here in the pose. You may want to just soften down a little bit deeper so that the thigh comes a little bit more parallel. From this Goddess Warrior pose, interlace your fingers behind your back and draw your heart down toward the inner knee. Free your arms to come back through Virabhadrasana 2. Reach back for the Goddess Warrior pose. Interlace your fingers behind you to soften and draw down. So the back leg stays so firm in this action. Free your arms and reach your gaze out over your extended right hand. Reach back. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Draw your heart down toward your inner knee. And slowly rise up. Release your hands. Heel toe your feet on their way to Tadasana. So you just pause there in Tadasana with your feet parallel. Just consider the poses that we did on the right side. And before you prepare for the left side, just kind of notice any idiosyncratic aspects to the actions that you did, anything you discovered in your examination of the practice. And perhaps the discovery was a little crankiness in the mind. Is there a way, as you step wide, to do the same actions on the left side? And as you align the front heel to the back arch, can you find a place of freedom as you draw the pelvis down into the form of the pose and pause to maintain this nice stability as you root down to the earth from the pelvis to the feet? Can you find a freedom in the upper body as you go from Virabhadrasana 2 to this Goddess Warrior to expand the side body? Now take your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers and draw your heart toward the floor, just to the inside of the inner knee. Free your arms to come back to where you started in Virabhadrasana 2. Reach back for a nice side stretch. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Draw your heart down toward the inner knee. Free your hands again. Last time, reach your arms in Virabhadrasana 2. Reach back, hold steady. Just examine as you hold the pose. You get the strength in the pelvic area, but freedom in the upper body. Can you follow the breath? Can you allow the breath to take you deeper in this last cycle of the pose? Now, inhale, rise up through the strength of the back leg. Parallel your feet and heel toe your feet in toward Tadasana. Pause again. Receive the fullness of the in-breath and the out-breath. You get a softness to the outer body. You still feel the energetics, that fiery sense of the inner body. With your toes actually turned out, so you're externally rotating. So we'll go into a squat position now. A squat position may not work for your knees. And of course, if you want to be quite mindful of that, you want to examine exactly where you should be in your squat. You can bend your knees, pull your feet in toward each other, maybe even use your arms to help you out as you come down toward the floor. And again, just kind of notice where you need to be in your practice today. You can take the hands right in front of your heart as we continue our work to do some nice hip opening actions. Slowly take your pelvis to the earth. And once you're on the earth, take your right foot forward, and with the right shin bone forward and parallel to the edge of your mat, take your left foot in your hand and just move the foot side to side. We'll continue to examine our hip action as you just move the foot side to side, just to get a nice opening there, kind of creating a little bit more fluidity as we move side to side. I'm supporting my ankle. I'm drawing my ankle in toward my heart while trying to reach my knee away from my heart. Release your foot down. We go from the baby cradle, cradling the left foot, to taking the right foot up. And again, just supporting the ankle so you're not sickling the foot at all. With your toes spread so you keep this nice tone to the muscles of the leg. Just a nice, easy, you don't want to rock this baby too fast. Just a slow and easy action. Take your attention to the breath. Just do nice, easeful movements, side to side. And release down. Let's repeat that on the opposite side. For some of us, we might be able to go a slightly deeper. And a deeper version could be to take your eyes of the elbows right under the calf muscle. Now, that may not be a possibility for you. So you can just hold on to the shin and draw your ankle just slightly closer. Now that you've done this movement once, maybe the second time, as you examine yourself, perhaps you can coax the hip into a deeper version of this pose and release the foot down. Come to the opposite side, so same thing. Lift your foot up, and again, it can be the same form, this holding onto the ankle, or some of you might be able to just draw yourself into a little deeper form of the pose. You're trying to urge your right knee to draw away from you as you draw the ankle a little closer to you. As you notice the difference in the sides, just notice how you, as the practitioner, really need to customize the actions. Release your foot down. Now let's come to lie on your back. As you bend your knees, just pause. As you pause, close your eyes for a moment. This practice where we bring our awareness to specific parts of our body, especially those parts, the biggest joints, the hip joint, the shoulder joint, these joints that we need to be vigilant and give constant attention in our practice to these areas. Just notice how heavy the pelvis feels right now. And with your eyes bright, draw your right knee in toward your heart. So lots of hip flexion here. Release your right foot down to the mat. Same thing, draw your left knee in. And just let the interlaced fingers help you to take the knee just a little bit closer to you. With your arms, you can draw yourself into deeper hip flexion. Release the foot down. Do the same with the right leg. Draw in first. Now take the ankle just to the outer knee so we open the hip really nicely. Can you lift up the left foot to bring the ankle closer to you? And in the same way that we did in the baby cradle, just now hold on to the foot or the ankle. Take your left foot down to the mat. You can keep the left leg bent or straighten the leg. The straighter the leg, the more challenging this can be. So most of us are probably going to be in the bent leg position. Now, just move side to side your ankle in the same movement that we did when we were seated. And notice how lying down in the supine position with the spine straight, you feel a completely different action going on. You feel an action that is quite different from the baby cradle in the seated position where we were able to round the spines slightly. Release your foot down. Straighten both legs. And see if you can notice any difference. This examination is re-examining the actions of our practice, the muscular actions, the alignment tools that we have, but most of all, we examine and re-examine our attitude. how we are drawn into the practice to get to know the body with so much more clarity. You can slowly bend your knees to draw your left knee in. And first, just park it to the outside of the right knee. So it's a nice hip opener. And for some of us, that's plenty. But if you'd like to lift up your right foot to make your left ankle a little bit more accessible to you, now hold on to the left ankle, left foot. Park your right foot back to the mat. And again, if you're looking for a lot more, you can straighten the leg. But for most of us, bending the knee makes a lot more sense. Just move the ankle side to side. And notice on this side, like, do you have more freedom in your examination as you do pretty much the same movement, now supine? Can you feel what differences there are as you draw side to side? You can release your foot down. Now with your feet parallel, slowly let your feet just slide down and observe the difference. Observe the similarities. In this practice of just getting to know the hips and the shoulders a little bit better, as you pause in Savasana, can you assimilate and make sense of these actions? The examination of your actions, of your attitude, of your alignment in your yoga practice makes the practice worthwhile, makes you feel like you're moving toward a deeper sense of the practice. You're all in. You're engaged. Now see if you can commit to that same level of engagement as you examine your breath, the ease of the outer body, as you feel a certain softness to the outer body, but you continue to stoke that inner fire with the breath. Your breath is deep and long on the in-breath. The exhale, you just release fully. You breathe in deep and long. You have that same length on the exhale breath. Breathe in. Maybe you can make the Exhale, breath even longer. As you're ready, you can slowly bend your knees. Plant your feet. Take your arms up and over your head. Draw over to your side to lie in fetal position. And slowly use the strength of your arms, little movement of the legs to take yourself to a seated pose. We come to a seated pose where we honor this tradition in yoga to always examine our actions, to take us deeper into the practice. And to that philosophy and these teachings, we bow. Namaste.